Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this deep dive series on AWS IoT Device Provisioning. My name is Charles Walkmany. I'm an IoT Specialist Solution Architect at AWS, and this video is part two of the first chapter that we started on just-in-time provisioning JITP. So, in part one of this video, we explained the different concept and the use case for just-in-time provisioning. So this part two is going to be dedicated to a live demo where we are going to showcase on the console exactly how we can implement JITP and what are the different options. We can see it in live action. So if you didn't watch the part one, I highly recommend that you go back to part one before you come back here so you can have a full understanding of what we are doing.
First thing first, let's set up our cloud environment we're going to use Cloud9 here. So the first thing is to create a Cloud9 environment. We are calling that JITP demo and the demo for JITP. And the rest you can leave it as is. So we're going to using T2 instance, Amazon Linux 2, and keep everything else default. So let's just wait for the environment to set up finally. Our environment is now up. We can open it and see. Let's wait a couple of minutes. Yes, it is up and running. Let's see. The environment is now empty. First step is to clone our online repo on GitHub. So we copy this first command to clone our repo to the local environment. Our cloning is done. Let us list to make sure it's correct. Yes, we can see now the new repo, and you can also see that on the left side here. Just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to use a new terminal window here to make sure we have everything clear and smooth. So let us change directory and move directly to just-in-time provisioning directory. Now next, we have to prep our cloud environment, make sure we create our device hierarchy. So the thing type, the thing groups, and yes, so we start with the thing type. Oh, let me make sure I copy it correctly. Copy. So now that the type is created, I'm going to create a thing group as well. Now that the thing group is created, I'm going to create the subgroup. So I have this is the group hierarchy that I'm creating. So I have a parent group that is any company, and I have different subgroups, dev, prod, and unclaimed. So let's copy one by one so you can follow along. All right, this is the first one. Let's do the second one. And the third one. Let's clear. And finally, we create the billing group, which is also very interesting because the billing group is going to help you for the billing purposes. So you make sure that all the resources used by your things are going to be consolidated within the billing group. So it's very interesting to have that also. Once you are done with the device hierarchy creation on the cloud, you can proceed with the IoT policy. And this is the step where you are going to define the policy for all the IoT devices that you will provision using JITP. So here's what we use here is the sample. You have to update before you run the command. So you can see in this document, this is the sample that we use. So in the document, you have to replace the region with the actual region where you're working and the account ID with your actual account ID. And this is going to be part of this document. So let me come back to this one. Just-in-time provisioning is here. And then you have any type thing policy. So this document, within this document, you have to modify. Make sure you replace your region here with the actual region where you're working and the account ID here. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So pay attention to that. Modify before you run the following command. And if you are not sure where to find your account ID, you can always go back to your console and it's going to be on the top right corner. Top right corner, there's a drop down. I just hit hide this one for my own, for security purposes, but on your own account, you can find it. You can always find it on the top right corner. So coming back to that, I already updated my policy document here. So I can proceed directly with this step, the create policy step. So I'll copy this command, come back here, paste. All right, clear that. After the policy, the next step is to create the JITP provisioning role. So this is the role that is going to be assumed by your AWS user to execute the JITP provisioning flow. In order to execute this, you need to be admin. So you either do it in directly on your admin profile, or you can do it on Cloud9 profile, provided that your Cloud9 user is an admin user. So for me, I already changed the Cloud9 user to an admin user, so I can directly execute this here. So this is what I was saying. If you're not admin yet, it's not going to work. So one thing I'm doing here is I need to change this setting, AWS manage temporary credentials. I need to disable this. So once I disable this, it should normally work. Let me run that again. Sweet, it's working. So this is a live demo of what I was saying. If you're not admin user, then it's going to use temporary credential, and the temporary credential cannot create a role. So you'll be in trouble if you do that. Next one, I'm attaching to this policy. I'm attaching a policy to this role. So again, I'm running this and I clear. So we are done here. Once we are done with the policy, then we can move on to the provisioning template. And this is the command we use to create the provisioning template. So I'm just going to copy this whole command and pay attention to the account ID here. So you have to change it to your actual account ID. So I already copied my actual account ID and I can run the command. So I have it already. Now the provisioning template is done. I can show you how the provisioning template file looks like. So you just have an idea of what we are doing here. So we first by declaring the certificate fields that we are going to refer to when creating the cloud identity. So we're going to use certificate ID, command name, serial number, and so on and so forth. So those ones in the resources segment, we are going to, what we're saying here is that the thing name is going to refer back to the serial number. The hardware version is going to, within the attributes, the hardware version is going to refer back to the common name. The serial number is going to be a serial number, and so on and so forth. The thing type is going to refer back to this field in the certificate, and same thing for the thing group. And the billing group, we map it with the organization in the certificate. So if I have to summarize what we have done so far, we have created the device hierarchy in the cloud, and we also define the different authorization and profile that we're going to use for the device provisioning. Now, the last step before we move to the actual script execution is we need to create a private certificate and register it to AWS IoT. So this is very simple, as per se. So we can create here, we're going to create a certificate, a private key and a certificate, corresponding certificate. So we copy this and we do it directly here. We paste this. Our private key has been generated. So you can see root ta.key, that is the private key for our root ta. The next command is going to generate a certificate signing request with all the details defined in this config file that is already in your repo. So all you have to do is copy and paste. And then I can say US, then state Colorado, city Denver, organization, any company. Organization unit, we put all common name, JITP IoT Device Root CA. So this is it. Okay, now let's see if we have our CSR request listed here. So we can see here rootca.csr. Now from that certificate signing request, we are going to generate the root CA for our certificate authority. So I have to copy this guy right here. Right. And I paste it. Let me clear this and I paste it here. Okay. So now let's list and see. So we have rootca.pem. So since we have the PEM file, this means that our certificate root CA is generated. Now that the PEM file is created, we can verify that we can verify it. So we can see all the fields. So it looks correct to us. So at this point, our root CA is ready. And what we have to do right now is to link our root CA with AWS IoT. So what we have to do here is, this is the first command. So pretty much here, what we're doing is we get a registration code from AWS IoT. And this is a step to ensure that only authorized users get a registration code. So this is something very critical whenever you define your security policies, right? So you have to make sure that only authorized users have permission to get the registration code, because this registration code is going to be collected, encapsulated in a certificate that we call a verification certificate. And whenever we generate a request to link our certificate authority to AWS IoT, we need that verification certificate before it can actually work. So this is just an extra step that we're taking to make sure that only authorized user can create certificate authority within AWS. And that way we make sure that we secure your infrastructure. So let's start here with this guy. So this is our registration code that we're going to copy somewhere. Next, we are going to create another private key. And then a certificate signing request for the verification certificate. So we can use the same one we had before. Colorado, Denver, organization name. We had any company. All. Now the common name needs to be the registration code. So I'm going to copy this, copy and paste here. Email address, I can leave it blank. And then no password, no password. So at this point, we have our verification certificates CSR. And from there, we are going to generate our verification certificate. So this is the last command. We copy this command and we paste it here. So we have everything. The input is the verification certificate. The certificate authority is going to be your root CA file. Then the private key is going to be root.ca.key. And yes, this is everything you need to have. And the output is going to be generated within this PAM file. Oh, I actually forgot to run the last command. That is the actual registration command. So AWS IoT register CA certificate. So the previous command was just to generate a certificate. Now I need to register it to AWS IoT. So this is the command I copy, and I'm going to paste it here. Sweet, I have it here. So let me just AWS IoT list CA certificates, just to make sure I have that certificate created. And this is it right here with the ARN, and the status is active. So everything is cool. Our JITP is ready to run. Let me clear this one. Now this is the final and the ultimate step that we have to run, and it's running the script. So we have one Python script, one entry script over here, and as I explained before, that entry script is going to trigger the rest of it. With this entry script, we're just going to declare how many devices we need to run, and we need to simulate, and what is the endpoint we want to reach. And in terms of endpoint, if you want to have an idea where to get your endpoint, so you go to IoT Core. I know you guys are used to it, but let me just for the sake of it. So you go to settings, and within settings, you have your endpoint here, endpoint. So you have to copy this. And this is the endpoint we are going to use here, over here, when we run our Python command. So let me just do it real quick. So I copy the running command and I paste it here. So here I'm just saying that I'm going to simulate and my endpoint is going to be the US East endpoint, and I'm going to simulate 4 devices. Just for the sake of verification, I'm going to check here, make sure I have no devices. So I have 0 things in my profile, and I can also do the MQTT test client just to make sure I have nothing floating around. Okay, so let's run our script and make sure everything's correct. Let's run it. Okay, so we have a message here that all the containers have been started. Let's see if we have some things that have been created. So we have our 4 things here, and let's check if we have some traffic coming. So we can check it with the test client. So let me subscribe to this. So we have all this traffic coming already. So we are sure that our devices have been provisioned and they are actually sending messages. So just to be sure, let's check our things. Let's check the first one here. Let's check the details, right? So the type, we have any type. The billing group, we have any company. And those values are matching with the value that we had in our provisioning template. So let's check the attributes. You can see that we have the CA, the hardware version, provisioning, and all those attributes. We can check the certificates out as well because they are saved to your AWS account. And those are the 4 certificates, 4 different certificates for your devices. You can check one of them here. And you can see the common name is this, the hardware version, with all the devices, and the corresponding thing is this thing. So in terms of policy, the policy that have been attached to that device is actually our any policy. And if we check the thing, right, that thing, you see the common name is HW hardware 204. So if we check our corresponding thing here and we check the properties, hardware version HW204. So we are sure that the value from our certificate has been copied to our thing. So this is pretty much what we had for you. Feel free to come back to us if anything is not working.
All right, guys, before I let you go, 2 important recommendations as next steps. So once you are done with the GitHub repo execution, if you have any problem, first you can write you can comment in the GitHub, or you can even comment to the YouTube channel. We are going to check that from time to time and make sure you guys are supported if you have any issue. So in terms of recommendation, the first one is a white paper that we wrote November last year on device manufacturing. Is very interesting. It's going very deep on the manufacturing aspect, especially how you onboard the certificates uh, in the devices and how you ensure the security of all your supply chain. This is very critical. So feel free to check it. You have the link in the comments. The second aspect as well is our standard device management workshop. So this is a workshop, our standard workshop. If you want to explore the every aspect related to device management, not only the device provisioning, but things like IoT jobs, things like IoT core settings, fleet indexing, thing groups. So you can go very deep on all of these aspects. So feel free to and we'll put the links in the comments as well, so you can explore it. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and go build, have fun, and please come back to us, write your comments, and we come back to you to support you. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.